data. Hope you all are doing well. Let's move on with our PL300 question based concept series. Well, these are the questions that we are going to solve today. You will find the answers to all the questions at the description. So please take note of the same. So I am Ritesh. I'm the current Power BI super user and 2 times Tableau ambassador as well. Only one in the world to hold the two titles. So if my videos are making sense, then this is the time to subscribe to my channel if you are new to my channel. This is my website dancingwithdata.com. Please note it down so that anyways we will have this at the description. So I love to write about data analytics over there. You will also have link to my Tableau channel at the description. So let's get started. I would recommend you to see my previous video on incremental refresh, where I have a different example. But in this video, I'm going to use a different example. So welcome to my section RSB by RSB Ritesh Storyboard. So what's the story? So in this case, we will talk about Amazon online service and how incremental refresh can help the data analytics team to optimize their model. In the current scenario, the analytics team is trying to analyze a huge data set. You can consider each rectangle as one day, and within that one day, you have a lot many rows to deal with. So, on an average, we are adding 1 million records per day, say for example. And not only that, we are importing this data to Power BI model. Well, that can be too much to handle. In fact, data analytics team of Amazon online service is getting escalations on a daily basis with respect to import time or the performance of the reports that they have. They need to change the logic over here. So what can they do? Okay, so they are making use of full refresh over here. So that means if today I am there, tomorrow I am there. I am doing this from the scratch again. I am copying data from the scratch, and every day my data is getting increased. Well, now this approach can hurt my system. Suppose that on an average you are getting a million rows every day, and every day you are trying to copy that from the scratch. So we need to do something else, and with Amazon online service data analytics team, they have come to a conclusion that the overall lifetime of any record is not more than weeks. An order will come, it will be acknowledged, it will be delivered, or you will give the feedback. That happens within a span of a couple of weeks. So now let us divide this data set into two parts. So with the new logic, we keep 3 years of data that you can see with the blue line. As we know, from order to delivery, it's around 14 days maximum. So we'll keep incremental period as only 14 days, because after 14 days, there is no change in the data set itself. So why to copy that again and again? So the overall period is 3 years, and the incremental period is 14 days, and archive would be 3 years minus 14 days. Now that sounds interesting, logical, and quite optimized. Now focus on the new operation. Now how it goes now. So suppose your refresh is going on a daily basis. So I would say that, okay, this is happening at 9 a.m. IST or PST, whatever. So I say that, okay, 9 a.m. IST, and I say this is a daily schedule. Okay. So what happens at 9 a.m.? So tomorrow 9 a.m. IST, unlike the previous way where it was going from the scratch and copying the data set right from the start to the end, this was the previous approach. Now the new approach is, so tomorrow 9 a.m. we'll have one more day of data set. So we are just moving like this now. That's it. So can you see the difference? Previous and the new one. So we add one more day. Not only that, one day of data will also go out, right? We are just keeping 3 years of data. So one day of data will go out from the system, and one day of data will push back to archive. And that's the way reiteration will happen the next day itself. Definitely, this is a great way to optimize your data set. Well, that was the storyboard, and I hope you liked it. But the real question is, how simple or complicated is this process with Power BI, or how to configure this with Power BI? Trust me, it's not that difficult. So assuming that this dataset belongs to Amazon service, so definitely you will have orders, order IDs, customer ID, customer name, ship mode, so forth and so on. Now, as per my logic, I would like to set incremental refresh over here. Now, these are the major steps to configure incremental refresh. So first of all, you define the filter parameter, then use parameter to apply a filter, define the incremental refresh policy, and last but not the least, then you publish changes to the Power BI service. Please remember that with Power BI premium account, you are in a position to set a portion of the dataset which can have direct access to the data source. So that is possible, but that is only with the premium account. So let's go and let's do this with the hands-on example. And let me also go off from this screen so that you can concentrate more. Here you go. So we have the usual sample superstore, and this aligns well with the Amazon online service because you have order IDs, shipping cost, customer name, so forth and so on. First of all, you need to go to transform data. So you need to be at Power Query Editor. Once you are at Power Query Editor, make use of manage parameter. Please notice that the names of your parameters should be range start and range end. I hope these names are clear to your eyes. Not only that, the type should be of date time. That's the other thing that you need to understand. Suggested values would be any value in this case. So let's go to Power BI desktop and configure the same. Let's go with the range start first. Date time, any value, and here you can give a date. Here you go. Similarly, I want range and date time, any value. And again, here I would give this as 2013. At the end, I will just again put 0000 AM. So I have range start, range end, while range of start is 1st of Jan, range of end is 1st of Feb. So once I apply this very particular parameter to the order date, that means I will get 1 month of data. That will be the month of January. So let me just move over to my table, that is orders, and try to find where my order date is. Here you go. Here is my order date, but before you do anything, ensure that this order date is of type datetime. Your parameters are of datetime, right? So you need to ensure that your date type is of date time. While you apply the filter, just remember that your keep rows where order date, the first option, it should be like is, after, or equal to, while the second one is before. You are doing this to avoid the double counting of rows. So we are all set and we need to apply the filter. Come to datetime filters, and at the bottom you can see custom filter. The first option, it should be is after or equal to, and the second option, it should be is before. Now you need to ensure that you are selecting parameter range start, again parameter range end for this one. I'm repeating it again, but it's important that range start and range end, you need to keep those names as it is. Okay, say okay now. Once you say okay, you will see that your dates are filtered as per your condition. So I see all the dates within the month of January, as I said. You can notice that. Okay, so we are good. That means our parameter is working. Okay, so let me close and apply and get back to the table because that would be our next step. So once I get back to my table, I'll just right click there and you will see there is incremental refresh option over there. Now you see the configuration. And that is something interesting in the sense that you can select your table and we are good with orders. No worries about the same. Set import and refresh ranges. So that's what I was talking about. Archiving date starting, I say 3 years back, right? So we'll give the same configuration. Before refresh date, right? The day from the refresh 3 years back, I want this overall data set with me. Incremental refresh. Now, what about the incremental refresh? We already said that we'll keep 14, and this time it will be number of days. Here you go. At the end, you can see this nice image over there that shows 3 years before refresh date, and this yellow, that means incremental refresh, that is 14 days before refresh day, and this is your refresh date. There are a couple of more useful options before that. You see this has been disabled. It says get the latest data in the real time. As I mentioned already, since we don't have premium space over there, we are not in a position to make use of it. But with this one, we could have got access to live data set as well. At the top also, you can see this warning. Well, Excel sheet is not suitable for query folding, so it is giving the same warning. In the real-time scenario, real case scenario, it makes sense to make use of incremental refresh with the databases like SQL Server, Oracle Database, which are compatible with SQL query and hence query folding. If you check the option only refresh complete days, it will refresh only for the complete days. That means, for example, if your schedule is at 4 a.m., as we said, we had 9 a.m. schedule, right? If you remember. So if you are refreshing at 9 a.m. IST, now that's not the order count by end of that day. So maybe you would like to ignore that very particular day. So this option is being used for the same. There is another option, detect data changes. So if I pick that option, well, it's interesting. Only refresh data in the last 14 days if the maximum value of this date time column changes. Okay, but the catch over here is you are not supposed to make use of the same date that you have used to configure the incremental refresh. That's very important. So you have to pick some other date. As you can see, the important part of this blog as well, which explains the same. This assumes such as column exists in the data source, which is typically for auditing purposes. This should not be the same column used to partition the data with range start and range end parameters. Well, the only step that is left now is the last one, that is publish changes to Power BI service. So we'll just go back to our Power BI and publish the same to PBI service. Let me pick my usual workspace. It asked me to replace this data set. I will be more than happy to do that. And now I have propagated my changes to the Power BI service as well. And finally, we are done with the incremental refresh process. I hope this session was informative. Share it with your colleagues. If you're new to my channel, subscribe to my channel. And I see you again. So this is Ritesh and I blog at dancingwithdata.com. So guys, dance with data, sing with data and have fun with data. See you soon.